Mike,
Got it.
how's it going? Good morning.
Good morning, my friend. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm slowly getting over jet lag because I've only been back in the country a few days
Yeah,
from Nam and LA. But I've been good, mate. How about yourself? How are you?
yeah, I'm very good, thank you, mate. It's nice to see some sun this morning as well. It's like
I
makes you want
know
to
I've
get out
even
there.
had to pull curtains because I thought it would just bleed out. I mean, I was like, look at even my grass is looking nice today. I mean,
Very good.
something's going on in the UK, isn't it?
Where are you based, Mike? Where?
So I'm now in Horsham, which is near Gatwick Airport, about 40 minutes away from Brighton. So we moved here just gone a year ago now. Before I was in Epsom, so just outside of London. And yeah, we moved here last March, and because the properties were cheaper here, so I can after 19 years of being in flats and apartments, I finally have upstairs.
Yeah,
I haven't had an upstairs since I was a teenager. So yeah, it's been quite amazing actually. But yeah, still, I'm just more an extra half hour south now. So when I'm up and down the M25 or whatever, it's just that little bit extra now at 2:30 in the morning to get home. As opposed to I'd often see like the turn off for the A3. I'm like, oh, I, I used to be so close. But I
I'm
mean,
sure
the
it's worth
pros and
it.
cons weigh it out.
Yeah, congrats on the new house, mate. How long have you been
Cheers,
there?
man.
How long
Cheers.
have you
No,
been there
it's
now?
exciting. I was saying to some pals, like, musicians can own property. It can happen. You just got to work bloody hard. And also have a partner who works bloody hard as well.
Yeah,
In this crazy day and age we're in now, isn't it? It's just getting harder and harder, isn't it, really? But
I remember the same story, mate, when we bought this place, and it was always it's always difficult because if self-employed,
yeah.
you got to have a decent set of accounts, and then it's really difficult. It is really hard to get on the ladder. So, congratulations on getting your house.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, you got to have 3 years of lovely tax bills, like not declaring anything,
Yeah.
basically. So yeah, but no, thank you, man, thank you. So yeah, no, it's all yeah, slowly becoming a natural adult. It's I've been clinging on for dear life to being a kid all my life. So but yeah, slowly becoming an adult now, which is fun, isn't it? To what do they say, grow old gracefully.
Fantastic. Mike, if just in case anybody who's not come across your
Yeah,
channel on YouTube, can you just explain to us what you do for your living?
yeah, and I can try and work out what it is I do. But I mean, I'm a musician, I'm a guitarist, and I started, when I first started doing YouTube, it was just to kind of get my name out there a bit, and advertise guitar lessons and things like that. And yeah, I guess it's kind of morphed into. I mean, I do lessons on YouTube, but at the same time, show little behind the scenes to be a working musician. I guess I'll do little vlogs and playing the occasional reviews if I actually like the product. I'm sure we'll talk about that later because there's lots of people who will do
Yes.
a video on anything to get something free. I think on YouTube. What gives it a bit of a bad name. And yeah, just I guess an all-round cheeky chappy who plays guitar on YouTube. I guess.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
YouTube's been great, and like I say, initially it was just I remember the first video I ever did. I think it was called like public announcement, where I was just advertising guitar lessons, and I was in between bands, and I thought, what what shall I do, and to try and get more people wanting lessons and things like that. And I saw a guy called David Wallerman. I don't know if you come across him. He's a lovely guy. I saw he did a YouTube video talking about how to be a guitar player on YouTube.
okay.
And years later, I met him when we went to GitCon in Germany. I was like, "This is all your fault. This is all your fault." And then from him, I would see like Rob Chapman. No, this is kind of like 2011, 12.
Right.
And I was just seeing like David Wellerman and Rob, these two guys just in their room playing guitar and talking to a camera. And so I thought, well, that looks cool. And that's how it kind of all started, really. And So yeah, so from lessons to behind the scenes, you know, on a gig or studio, to playing and stuff like that. You know, I just like sharing ideas, tips as a guitar player, to the fine people of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking on your channel this morning, Mike, and I don't know if you've looked recently, but it's nearly coming up to 80,000 subscribers on your YouTube
I
channel.
think, yeah, I'm knocking on that now. I think, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's
That's an amazing achievement. Like, well
Oh,
done.
cheers, man. Yeah, no, it's you know, it's been like a little roller coaster. I try not to be honest. I try not to look at numbers or anything anymore. You know, because it's like good reviews and bad reviews or anything like that, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
just kind of it's easy to see the negative in something which is really good. You know, but no, I've got a lovely, you know, the people who no, follow me on there and stuff. I very rarely get any silly comments. You know what? It can be a crazy world out there in the comment world, and but yeah, no, it's always just lovely feedback. People, great support, and I met some wonderful people from doing YouTube as well. You know, and even like yourself right now. You know, so it's been great. So, but no, thank you. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
Do you get many people out and about when you're walking around and stuff to recognize you from YouTube or anything like that?
No, I do actually. Yeah,
Yeah, so do I.
it's kind of it's really sweet. When it first started happening, I'd get. I remember. God, yeah, Laura, my wife and I went and saw John Mayer. Was it John Mayer? I'm sure it was John Mayer at the O2, and a guy came up to me there, and I was with Laura, and we she was just my girlfriend. I say just, she was my girlfriend at the time, so it was kind of the early days, and so this guy kind of came up to me. He was very, very sweet. And so I was just a little bit flustered as well, but I was trying to, you know, I was trying to be cool with it. And I remember I went, oh, thanks for coming. Like when the conversation ended, and I was meant to say like, thanks for coming up to say hello, you know.
Yeah.
But I just said thanks for coming, and then Laura was so quick, and she went, "Ain't your bloody gig?" I went, "No, I didn't mean, I didn't mean that. I meant thanks for coming, you know." But I mean, I've been in like Sainsbury's, and you know, having guys come up to me, and it's really sweet. I find, but I always try. I will always try and, you know, engage with someone and ask their names and stuff, because I remember being 19, 20, and I saw, and I won't say his name, but I saw a known guitar player. He did a lot of guitar magazines and stuff, and I knew him from years prior as well.
Right.
And I was at a Richie Kotzen gig in Kingston at a place called The Peel, where I used to play a lot as well. And I just tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, "Oh, I thought it was you. Hello, mate." And he went, "Yeah, I thought it was you," and just turned his back to me. And still to this day, I mean, this was like, you know, 15, 18 years ago, whatever. And still to this day, it kind of would hurt when I think back to that.
Yeah.
And I thought, "Oh, you dick, man. Why, you know, even if you don't remember me,
Yeah.
you know, 'cause I had lessons with the guy and stuff." And I say he still is a known guitar player. That's why I don't really want to say his name.
No,
But, I just, you know, I remember thinking I would never be like that. So when people do come up to me and stuff, I always will, you know, just like anybody, when you speak to someone, you have a conversation and be nice. Don't go, "Oh yeah, thanks," and then turn your back, you know. So, but no, it's very sweet, and yeah, it means a lot actually when people kind of reckon. It's kind of, again, it's strange, you know, but again, you know, YouTube and Instagram and stuff is the new television now, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about it then, because I can't hold off much longer. Let's talk about NAMM, because you literally. When did you get back from NAMM, first of all? If you not.
I got back Thursday morning.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I averaged between 2 to 5 hours sleep a day out there. I just couldn't. And most days it was 3 hours sleep, but I would, you know, like NAMM starts at 10. I would be there at 10, you know,
Yeah.
but then you got the NAMM. Have you ever been to NAMM before?
No, it's on the list. I was talking to Andy Guitar, came on the other week.
I was around his house yesterday.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he was on the other week. Lovely guy. And he was saying about it and that, and I was just like, I need to go to NAMM.
Oh man, you got to do it. But the thing is, you got the daytime, but in the evening is when it all. That to me is NAMM, because that's the networking bit. Okay. You know.
Yeah.
Well, it's all networking. It's just a 24-hour You know, I mean, I don't go. I'm not bothered about another overdrive pedal. I don't care. You know what I mean? They're all the bloody same anyway, you know, give or take, you know.
All based on a Tube Screamer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, mate, you know, Jesus. But this was my third NAMM, and so I last went in 2020, just before the world stopped, obviously. And this one was so much smaller. Like Fender weren't there, Gibson weren't there, PRS weren't there, Roland/Boss weren't there.
Can I ask why you think that might be? Because I saw that and I thought that's crazy that those big brands are not there.
Yeah, well, I found out that Gibson, their booth in 2020 cost them $4 million.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a serious chunk of change. And it was ridiculous. You know, it was a hall. I can't even call it a booth. It was a hall. Wow. And it had a stage, you know, and I remember watching Phil X up there, and you know, all these great is it Los Labolos, La 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 Lamba, those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was you know, humongous. But I think the reason why those guys weren't there is because of YouTube and social media, because you know, they can go to a YouTube guy or girl person and you know, can you do a video on the new X, Y, or Z, is £400 or whatever it is, you know, and they probably can reach the same amount of market than going to NAMM and having a booth and paying, you know, millions of pounds, millions of dollars. So but at the same time, that interaction you get in the real world can never be replaced, I think, you know. So I hope for, you know, NAMM's sake that they do come back, because I think it's been advertised already for January next year. Cause I don't know how it will be able to continue, you know, because it's all business, it's all money, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And it must be a loss for NAMM, even like with that much of a loss. They must be. I know they'll get other people come in, but not spending that sort of money.
No, absolutely. You know, I mean, so Yamaha, when I've gone before, they have this whole hotel. So like you got the Anaheim Center, and then you got the Hilton Hotel there, and then the Marriott Hotel, and then there's the Sheraton where all the on a Friday night, the YouTube guys all meet up for piss up, you know. But the Marriott Hotel in 2019, 2020, when I went, that was all Yamaha, the whole hotel.
Okay.
And so God knows how much that cost. And this year they were where Fender were when I last went in 2020, you know. Okay. So that's significantly smaller. Still a big old room, but the guitar bit was just a corner. I went upstairs once. I went up there, and I was just like, I'm not fussed. There was, I think, Yamaha, Breedlove, and PV, and some others, you know, ESP maybe or something. And I looked around, and it didn't really hold me to want to go back up there. So it was all kind of down in the Hall D, they call it.
Okay.
But even that, there was a massive chunk of space empty, where before it was just all packed, you know. And on a Saturday it'd be like this, you know. It was just so busy. So it was a lot smaller, but I kind of liked it because it was so much easier to chat to people and chat to other companies and chat to other guys when you're meeting them, you know. So I mean, I met so many new people this year. I really enjoyed it, actually. Met a lot of new friends and caught up with a lot of old friends as well. So on that regard, it's like I say, I go there as a networking thing, as a social thing. You know, to meet new companies to potentially work with and things like that. I got on quite well with the guys from Martin Guitars.
Okay.
When I got there on the first day, just met them. I was emailing one of the ladies, and then she said, I'll come to like this, you know, the media day party that we're having. It's like going on to like 4:00. And I said, I'll land at 1, but I'll do my best, you know. And I did. I landed at 1. Luckily, security was fine. Got on an Uber. I was with my mate George Collins, who does Instagram and stuff. Amazing player.
Yeah.
And then we got an Uber to Anaheim, which was about 40 minutes, threw my stuff in, went and got the badge, and then got there about 3:15. And I'm glad I did that, because A, I pushed through the jet lag,
Yes.
and B, I met the guys at Martin, and they were super, super lovely. And then the next day I was at the booth hanging out there a couple of times, and then they invited me to their dinner they were having.
Oh, nice.
They basically hired out a restaurant at Disneyland. I mean, I dread to think how much this would have cost them. I mean, this was, I don't want to say Michelin star, but up there, you know.
Yeah.
And somehow, you know, they invited me, and I don't play Martin. I don't own a Martin guitar. They kept saying, like, "You haven't got a Martin, have you?" I said, "No, I haven't." Not yet, anyway. You know,
say, you might do shortly.
Yeah, exactly. So that was amazing. I was just looking around. Now, me and George were like, "How have we ended up here?" Now, just ploughing us with wine. You know, I've got so flipping drunk. So stuff like that, which is great. You know, you're meeting people, and the kind of the hang, I guess, as the kids say, you know, was pretty cool.
But that's also like that's taking an opportunity, isn't it? Like you were told to get there at time. You could easily have said, "Look, I've just got on a plane. You know, I struggle to get there, and it's a bit of a way to go. Whatever. I've got to jump in an Uber. I've got to get my stuff off." But you didn't. You took the opportunity and you did it, and you got there. Got there early as well.
Yeah.
And then took the opportunity, and then opened up a door for you to go and, you know, hang with the guys from Martin, sit around a table, drink some wine with them. Like,
Yeah.
That's how you make relationships.
Absolutely. And, you know, that was my whole thing about going. I mean, I was there for a week, and I was like, on it every single day, you know, and you got to be. I think when I first went, I didn't know what to expect. And I remember I got ill, and I just kind of looked at it a little bit as a holiday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of there to kind of, you know, further. I guess, you know, you got to think of this as an entrepreneurial way, as a brand, so to speak, you know. So yeah, I was ready to kind of do some, you know, to meet people, and just to kind of put the work in, really, you know. And then what made the whole trip even better was that I got to go to Tim Pierce's house.
Oh wow.
And which, so I even before, even a couple of months ago, I was thinking, if I go to NAMM this year, I wanna do something with Tim Pierce. I've met him briefly once before, and was amazed that he was aware of who I was, you know. And a couple of weeks ago, I'd done a session, and I came back about 1 a.m. I was just sitting on the sofa having a cup of tea, and I saw a friend of mine. I've done a live stream with him before, a guy called Ben Coombs. He does YouTube and stuff, and he was doing a live stream with Tim Pierce. And I don't know about yourself, but usually I'll just lurk when, you know, watching people on live streams and that. But for some reason I thought, oh, hey guys, how are you, in the chat? And I think one of the guys who was running the chat said, "Oh, Mike, you're right at the end," or something. But Ben just said, "Oh, before we go, Mike Bradley's here," kind of thing, you know. And Tim was like, "Mike," and was very complimentary to me, which really took me back, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it when he actually said, "I'm a big fan." I was like, "You're a fan of me?"
Wow.
I'm a fan. So how's that work out? And so I remember just sitting there, I was like, "Wow, man, this is amazing." And then I just thought, you know what, let's just message him. And so I got his email off Ben, and he got back to me, and he was super, super lovely. And I said, "No, I'm going to go around a few days after NAMM," which I deliberately did, because when I've gone before in the past, you meet people, and then they say, "Oh, let's do this or do that." I was like, "I'm going home Sunday," you know. So there's a little tip: if you go, just stay a few days after. Extra. You never know. And if worse comes to worse, you just get to bum around LA for a few days, you know. And so yeah, he said, "Come to the house. Like, I'll make myself free." He was super, super lovely. So I was like, "Monday," you know. And so yeah, I went to his place, beautiful house, on Monday, and I was there for about 4 or 5 hours, and we did a video together and just chatted. And he's just the nicest. You know, you meet some people, you're like, "Oh, you're a bit of a dick," but he was the nicest guy ever, you know. and to be in that room, which we've seen. I've known of Tim since the 90s, before. Could obviously people know him from YouTube and stuff, obviously now, but
yeah.
I remember. I started playing guitar in '96, and I remember Total Guitar magazine would have, this list of session musicians and stuff, and I'd always see that name, Tim Pierce, and I was a huge Bon Jovi fan when I was a kid, and on the Crossroads album, it would have, I'd always look at the personnel bit and that.
Yeah.
But on Runaway, it would say Tim Pierce guitar. I'm like, what? He's not Richie Sambora. And I was telling Tim that, and he was just cracking up, It's like, who's this Tim Pierce guy? He's not Richie. And then, fast forward 20 years later, I'm in the guy's kitchen having a cappuccino. It was a
that must have been a strange. I was gonna say it must have been a strange moment. That that's. You see these guys on YouTube, you've followed them for years. Same as someone like Rick Beato as well. I'm sure you probably bumped into him when you were there. I'm not sure, but
I didn't at NAMM, but I met Rick when I did GitCon in 2018, and I didn't know who Rick. I didn't follow him. I wasn't aware of who he was, And when I got out there, like people, we were all chatting and stuff, and I saw he had quite a following, and I was like, oh wow, I should probably check him out, But I remember having like an hour and a half just one-on-one chat with him about stuff, and I didn't really. We were just getting to know each other, kind of thing. I didn't really know he was just a nice bloke from the States, So, but no, he wasn't there this year. But oh god, most people. I was chatting with Paul Davids. I've met him a couple of times now. He was out there. Rob Chapman was up there. Peter Norrie, Pete Thorne. The usual cats, I guess, are out there, and others as well. Some people I saw they were out there, but I didn't bump into them or anything, No. But it's a big old room, but it's you can easily just cross paths and miss someone or something like that, But no, it is great. I think the pedal or the bit of gear which everyone was talking about was this. T-Rex.
Is it Echo Rec?
The Echo Rec, yeah. And I played it a couple of times. Thing is, though, you can't hear a damn thing in there. It's I mean, you can. It was nice. I could hear it, but I was like, oh, I need to try and borrow this or something. So I could properly. Because it's about $2,000, I think. It's quite. But I think an original was probably about $20,000 or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, that was the kind of. The big talk of the show. Everyone's always going, no, there's always something. So yeah, this year it was that, and I mean, it looked cool. It spun round, a little bit, but no, it was a good bit of kit from what I could hear. I'd be intrigued to hear it without hearing white noise everywhere, so to speak, So I'm assuming, was you checking out all the?
Oh yeah, I see it all the time. Like that's why I see it every sort of year, and I go, okay, everyone's watching all the sort of the posts come up and like new stuff and new gear. I'm always interested in like Music Man, what they've got on offer, because I'm a big fan of Music Man. And I've got a question for you later about that, because one of my students has asked you. He saw you in PMT Cardiff, I think, a little while back. And you were trying out some gear, but he had a question for you, so I'll ask you that later. But yeah, so Music Man, I was interested in what they were doing, and I know they got Rabia's joined the team, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? Good on him. He's doing amazing. I drunkenly saw him on the Thursday after the Martin dinner, because I'd met his girlfriend before. I was doing a guitar breaks with Andy.
Oh yeah.
And she was, when we did it at Brighton Electric, and she was working there. Hannah, she's lovely, really lovely girl. And I was in the Marriott Hotel. And I kind of saw her, and she kind of looked at me. I was like, hey, I was staggered over, and we were chatting for a bit. And then Rabia was chatting to some friends, and then he kind of turned around. I thought, oh god, I hope he doesn't think I'm chatting his girlfriend up. No, because he just kind of he gave me the boyfriend look, And I was like, hey man, we've never met properly before, and then I know some of the guys at Ernie Ball a little bit. There's a guy called Robert. He's like the A&R guy at Ernie Ball. He's a lovely guy. And I remember when I saw the post that Rabir left Chapman Guitars, I remember thinking, I bet he's going to go with Ernie Ball, because I saw he was playing that Sabre
Yes.
Music Man.
Right.
And I thought, I bet he's going to go there. And then that was the big, he announced it, I think, on the Wednesday or the Thursday or something. It looks lovely, that Music Man he's got. I love that colour, that kind of charcoal frost. I don't know the exact colour it is, but it looks really, really good, But I just said to him, good on you, man. He's doing it right, from doing the YouTube thing, and he's becoming an artist and growing. Like I have a lot of respect for him, actually. He can really play.
He can, and he's worked from like like most of us, but from the beginning, like he's worked his way up and he's worked really hard.
Yeah,
you can see that from an outside perspective that he's worked very, very hard in it. I sort of expected similar sort of thing because I saw the announcement that he left Chapman, and then I was thinking there must be some sort of like Ernie Ball. I was thinking Ernie Ball, Ibanez. I was thinking there was some sort of going to be some sort of deal coming on there, and then they announced it. So, but fair play to him, as you said.
I think actually it's a really good move as well, because Ernie Ball are an amazing company to be with. Well, Ernie Ball Music Man, I should say.
Yeah.
But they're not in the Fender world or Gibson world, but they're their own thing, and they're not trying to copy anything else or anything like that, So I think he's done a really good thing going with them. So good on him. He's like you said, you can tell he's really worked his arse off, and he deserves it all, definitely, and like I say, more importantly, he's a great player, really, really good player. So I look forward to meeting him properly when I'm sober. I don't want to come across like I'm some drunken fiend all the time. It just happened that first day when bloody Martin guitars, I tell you.
Well, thanks, mate. You just got there. You're probably like excited. It's like you're probably in a little bit of like holiday mode, even though you were networking. You're still
it was that, and also the very little sleep I was on as well. I just got in the day before, so you got to kind of push through. But
is that 6-hour difference? The time zone there is that
8 hours?
Is it 8 hours? Is it?
Yeah, 11-hour flight and 8 hours. Yeah, it's a bit of a kick. Yeah, but. We do what we do, mate. We do what we do, don't we?
Well, let's if you don't mind, let's chat. I'm going to ask as well now because I always forget. Like, if anyone's watching this, please do if you've got any questions for Mike, please do let me know and put them on the
Please, yeah.
Yeah, because I got one for you that I'm going to ask you. One of my students said he saw you in PMT in Cardiff. I don't know if he spoke to you or not, but you were trying out some guitars or something, and he was trying out a Music Man. But what he was saying was, the question was, he was asking about, do you still have your Silhouette Music Man?
I not a Silhouette. I've got a Cutlass.
Cutlass. Sorry, yeah, it was Cutlass.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did say Cutlass. Sorry. So he said he wanted to ask you a bit about it, really. So he just said, have you still
I call it the Strat Killer, because I think it's one of the nicest. It's one of the nicest Strat tones you can get, which isn't a Strat,
Yeah.
And I've had it. When did I get it? End of 2018. And it means a lot to me, because not only is it a great guitar, I was given it by Ernie Ball.
Oh wow!
And so it was it really means a lot to me for that. The fact that a company like that would give me a guitar, so to speak, and I truly like the guitar. I still play it, and I've used it on gig sessions, many YouTube videos and things. But it's just a wonderful sounding guitar, and like I say, I do think the Strat Killer, So, and I just got a new Strat made, which I'm calling it the last Strat I'll ever have, And the new, actually, is next to me here. I'll show you if you want.
Yeah.
There's this little beauty which
nice.
has come out it's by Eternal Guitars.
Oh yeah.
And it's brilliant, and it trumps over all my other Fender Strats I got. But the one guitar what competes with it is the Music Man. Those Music Man guitars I make, they're just beautifully built. They're kind of like custom shop guitars, but in a standard range, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
They're still a pretty penny. They're not exactly cheap. but they're not quite up there in custom shop world, you know, price wise.
No.
But yeah, no, I always recommend Music Man's. Some people might struggle a little bit with the necks. Some of them can be a little bit slim. Well, you got the Axis Sport, have you?
Yeah, Axis Super Sport semi-hollow one. So it's got like
Yeah,
a little, when they did it's discontinued now, I think, which is a shame, but it's got like a little M hole on it.
that's right. Yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
It's a beautiful guitar, and it's my favorite. I use it all of the time, and if I was looking for another guitar now, it would probably be in the Music Man camp. You know, love Fenders, love Gibsons. I've owned them, and they've, you know, lovely guitars. But as you said, there's something about Music Man. It's like you're getting a little bit of a custom shop feel. I feel with the Music Mans, and you're not. Yes, it is expensive, but it's not. You're not paying the top end like, you know, Gibson custom shop sort of.
yeah, they're not. You know, I mean, God, I went in Anderton's first time in ages. Actually, I went there probably about a month or so ago, and they had their boutique room at the back. And I saw some of the Les Pauls are like 10 grand now. I was like, 10 grand.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. It just, I just can't fathom that amount. I mean, it's like, you might as well, if you save in 10 grand, you might as well save a bit more and get a vintage or so. You know, it's just silly how expensive, you know, guitars are now. You know, I mean, I got my Les Paul as a standard Les Paul. I got in 2003, and you know, what was that then? It was £1,500, you know, and you know, I was a teenager still then, and I remember getting on my credit card and just trying to pay off for it as much as I could, you know. But I mean, I don't know how much a standard Les Paul. I'm going to guess probably about £2.5 grand now, probably. You know,
I think you're about right, because recently they dropped this greenie. I don't know if you've seen it, the sort of the Les Paul.
Oh yeah.
That interested me quite a little bit, because I thought, you know, it seems like you were getting more of a guitar. It's very, very closely priced to the standard Les Paul.
Yeah.
But as soon as I sort of looked at it, it sold out. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, literally. I was looking at it, and it's like, right, sold out everywhere. So it was a popular guitar, but yeah, I'm sure they'll come up at some point in the second-hand market. But yeah, I've owned Les Pauls across my time, and I've never really, I don't know, I've never really got on with them that well. I just, you know, find them a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, it's well, I remember when I got mine, you know, all those years ago, and I was the same for a while. Then I remember this was just before YouTube and stuff. So, you know, when was this? 2003, yeah. And so, you know, forums and things like that you would read. And I remember reading about that Gibsons have shorter scale lengths. I was like, oh yeah, of course they do. And so I thought, no, I'm left-handed, but play right. So my left hand's always been my stronger arm, obviously. So I have 10s on my Fender type guitars.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, let's just put 11s on it. And as soon as I put 11s on it, it made more sense. I was like, oh, there we go. That feels good. Before I'd be bending out a tune and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe if you're used to the Music Man, and if you have a Gibson, try going up a gauge, you know. But there is that thing as well. The tailpiece obviously is more forward. So that can be, it takes a minute. But yeah, I'm never super comfy on a Les Paul. But when I've got a 345, which I got in 2016, and that, I mean, it's a custom shop one. I'm very lucky to have it. But when I got that, I was like, oh no, this is my Gibson. Like I'm much at home on a semi body. I like the tone of it. When you play live, if you're playing quite loud, you can feel the air come through. I don't know if you get it with your Music Man, actually. Do you get a bit of air? Yeah. I love that. It's like the guitar's alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, you know, a little bit of air con, you know, coming through if you're playing on a hot stage or something. But yeah, I'm much more at home on like a semi-bodied Gibson, I think, more than an actual Les Paul on a solid bodied one, you know. I know some people, like a couple of mates, they like the 335s and stuff, but find them too big. But I think if you're a smaller guy, I can understand. I mean, I'm 6'1", so I'm all right, you know.
Yeah, I'm not 6'1". I'm I'm 5
Yeah, no,
foot.
but you're 6'1" like that though, man. You know, you got the muscle there. But yeah, if you're kind of 5'8" or something, then I understand. But then you can get a 339. That's
Yeah.
like a Les Paul kind of size, isn't it? You know. But yeah, some of those price. I mean, when I got my custom shop Les Paul, beg your pardon, 345. That was like what was that? That was just over $3,000, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But that was back in January 2016, and I'd wanted that guitar for like 20 years. So I'd been waiting, and finally I got to the position I could do it. But that guitar 7 years later now would probably be about $5,000-6,000, you know.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't justify paying that amount of money on a guitar, you know, even though this is my job. That's, you know, we've got mortgages, man.
It is like I wouldn't. I don't think I could justify that much. I mean, I'd happily spend, you know, like I did on the Music Man, a few thousand or whatever.
Yeah,
three grand maximum probably. But yeah, I couldn't justify spending 10 grand on the Les Paul, or, you know, unless I won the lottery. But
yeah,
still.
I mean, and you know, if I put, you know, if you started saving and think, okay, a 5-year plan,
Yeah.
you know, then fair enough, you know what I mean? But it's just such a chunk of change. And you can understand why people always say, oh, they're for doctors and lawyers and stuff, you know, because, you know, the average day, not even just working musician, just guy or girl, you know, no one can afford that. It's just nuts, and it's just going to get worse, I think. You know, I mean that Peter Green. I'm assuming they did a replica of Kirk Hammett.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
So
they did,
that must have been what, 20 grand, probably. You know, I mean.
Well, I think obviously you know, the original was crazy money in that, but because Kirk Hammett bought it from I think the story goes, a collector or something, but because it passed down from Peter Green and it went to Gary Moore.
Yeah.
And then I think he went to a collector after that point, and maybe another collector, and then you know, Kirk Hammett apparently bought it. But yeah, apparently Kirk Hammett lent them the guitar for them to sort of, you know, look at it, spec it up, and try and get as close as possible. They were asking something like, I thought it was a really reasonable price. I think it was near like 3,000 or 2,900 or something for the greenie copy, which I thought was a really good. That's why I looked at it, because I thought that's a really good price for that guitar.
Oh, so I'm guessing that's like in the standard range.
In the standard range,
right,
yeah.
right,
so
got you.
It's very, very similar to like a standard Les Paul.
Right.
But I thought it was just a little bit better because it had like a few little unique features, and it looks cool as well. But yeah, it's literally as soon as I start looking.
Oh, I'm assuming they've done the pickup thing. Then I'm gonna.
They have, yeah.
They have to have done it, haven't they? Yeah,
yeah, they have done the pickup. But I know, I thought if I didn't get on with the pickups, I would just swap them out. Like I've done it before, set of Monty's or something, put that in there, and like.
Oh yeah, mate, Matt's great. Yeah, I love. Yeah, I've got it in my Les Paul. I've got Monty's Paths in there. You know, so yeah, if worse comes to worse, whack those in it. You know, but they're all sold out, are they?
Yeah, they literally, wherever I was looking, they're all sold out. So you know, but I'm sure they'll come up at some point on the second.
I'm sure.
Keep my eyes out, but I think they will go up. I do think they will go up.
Probably. Shake that tree a bit more, isn't it? You know, good God.
Mike, how many guitars have you got there? Because I can see them on the stand.
Yeah, I've got. No, what? I've got a few, but play like 4.
Okay.
I think I'm back to 17 now. I think. I've been playing for 27 years nearly.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a way up, and again, doing the YouTube thing, you very kindly get some guitars kind of gifted to you, or to do a video from their say you can have it, you know, like say the Music Man one was one of them, and actually the first guitar a company ever gave me was my Yamaha Revstar.
Oh yeah.
Which again, stuff like that means a lot. It's like companies giving me a guitar, oh my God, you know. So yeah, I've got a few of those, but yeah, there's I think it's 17 now. Yeah. But like I say, because I just got this new Strat, and literally about a week before I went to the States. So I've done a few gigs with it now, and it's started to get a bit of pick wear, because I asked them to do the thinnest nitro finish possible, you know.
Okay.
So but this was the first guitar I'd bought since my 345 in 2016. So it's been a while really since I bought.
And did you spec this guitar out yourself? You spec'd exactly what you wanted on it?
Yeah, I've got a video hopefully going up tomorrow talking about. I wanted to get it up before I went away, but time just got in the way. But yeah, I was I'd met it's basically Eternal Guitars is the name of the company, and a lovely guy called Dave Walsh is the luthier, is his company.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd met him a few years before that, and I'd heard the name. I remember Sam Bell was playing his guitars as well.
Okay.
And my mate was going there because he had joined the Springsteen like tribute theatre show, and he was getting Dave to make him a replica of Springsteen's Esquire,
Okay.
the Mutt, I think it's called. And I needed to get a refret on my telly, so. And I was looking for, it's always good to know other luthiers and repair guys, isn't it? You know. And so, so this is, I say, yes, it's about 2019, and I met him there, and he refretted my telly, and then he put some of his pickups in my Telecaster as well, and it just made the guitar so much better, you know. And so we just kind of kept in touch, and then last year I needed work on a couple of guitars, and went to him, and he did this replica during lockdown of Steve Ray Vaughan's Strat. And he said, "Oh, do you want to borrow it? Could you do a video for me and sort something out?" I was like, "Yeah, man, certainly." And it was amazing. I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is an incredible guitar," you know. And I thought, I've got to get one of his Strats, but I don't want a replica. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan, but I don't want a Stevie Ray Vaughan replica guitar, you know. And I love guitars beat up, but I don't like the fake beat up. But I like to put my own wear and tear on it, so to speak, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I said to him, I'll sort it out, mate. I've got to get one of your guitars, and you know. But again, as we've been talking about money, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so this would have been last summer, and then I just started putting a little bit aside each month, and then I sold a guitar, and then at Christmas time I said, let's do it, you know. So I was very particular. I wanted the sunburst a particular way. I didn't want again, it's not the best light really, but I didn't want any red. I wanted it kind of black, brown, yellow, more yellow as opposed to red.
Yeah.
And the pickups, they're like 59 type pickups really, which I've got in one of my other guitars. And the neck, I wanted it. No, that's the most important thing, is the neck, isn't it? You know. And the only thing with boutique guitars, when you're getting someone making a guitar, you don't know what it's going to be like.
No.
You know, it's not like when you go in a guitar shop, and if you're looking for a Music Man, and you could play 10 of them, and then you're like, oh, they're all right, and then you play that 11th one, and like, oh no, this is it. This is the one. You know.
Yes.
So I was a little bit like apprehensive, on the neck, you know. But fortunately, he had about 10 guitars he had made in his workshop. So I was just sitting there, and I thought, oh, I like this, I like a bit of that, and you know, he was able to get inside my mind of what I was after, and he nailed it. You know, I'm so happy with it, and I was like, this is it. This is the last Strat I will ever get, you know, or certainly buy, you know. So unless, you know, I win the lottery and I can buy a 62 Strat or something, you know. But no, so yeah, very, very happy with it. But yeah, I've got a few guitars what I've picked up, but yeah, four or five of them are probably my main ones, you know. I mean, how about yourself? Have you got? I see a couple of Strats.
I've not got 17. I had at one point, I think the max I've ever had in here is probably, I think, 6 or 7, and then
Nice. Yeah.
over the years I've had some really nice guitars. I had a 59 VOS Les Paul, and I bought that for like stupid money. Really, they had like a discontinued thing in PMT. The range was coming to an end or whatever it was,
Right.
and I paid I think it's about £3,000 or something, which is pretty good money. And now, as you said, it's probably like 6 grand, 5
Yeah,
grand.
man. Yeah.
But that been in, and unfortunately it went. I had another Les Paul came in, and it was a standard Les Paul. I think it's 2013. It had all the annoying stuff that I hated, but it's like the you know, the pickups they all pulled out and stuff, all the pots and stuff pulled out, and it had, when you opened it up, had like dip switches inside for on the circuit for like. I was like, I don't want this. So all that got
Oh,
gutted
did
out.
it have the Les Paul 100? Was it that one?
No, it wasn't
Oh,
that
wasn't the
one.
Robot Tuner one
No,
or
it
anything like
definitely wasn't that. No, I definitely would have got that. But it had like these dip switches where you could change. I was like, what was this? I don't want this in here. So I got somebody to gut it, took everything out of it, and then we I set Monty's Path pickups in there, put some like Bumblebee style capacitors and stuff, all that in there, and it was a bloody amazing guitar. And again, I don't know, it just sat there. Spent a lot of time sat on the wall, and that's the reason
that?
why it went. Like I'd play it every now and again and go, God, this is a really great guitar.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh, it's a lot of money sat there. And I've done it so many times now. I know that story, and I've just let it go. And then I've regretted selling it. So, but yeah, I've done, at the moment I've only got like two main ones, which is my Jeff Beck Fender Strat,
Nice.
and the Music Man, the semi-hollow one that I will never let that go. I've even put like a tracker thing in the back of it, so, just in case on a gig it goes walkabout. So.
It does, mate. You can't be not careful enough, really. Unfortunately, we kind of take it for granted, don't we? When you're at a gig and you put your guitar down and you go back and I'll be there, and there's fiends out there, man.
I know, mate. It happened to me once, not with a guitar, but it happened to me once at a wedding gig, and we just set up a video camera. Like I bought a brand new video camera, and we set it up to try and capture like a bit of a promo video at this wedding.
Yeah.
I put it on a stand like halfway back in the room in this really nice posh venue, and come to the end of the gig, and we all had our heads down, like doing cables and stuff, packing stuff down. And luckily, I don't know what made me look up, but in the corner of my eye, I could see the camera on the stand, and a guy was unscrewing the camera off the stand and he couldn't work out, but it had like a clip where you pull the clip across and slide it out.
Yeah.
And luckily, he couldn't work out how to get it off quick enough. And I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like, and as soon as I said that, he like disappeared into the crowd.
Oh my God!
I couldn't even pick him out. He was gone. I don't even think he was part of the wedding guests at all. I think he just like on the off chance, I don't know what he was thinking, but he
stumbled in there.
Yeah, I was just lucky to look up at the right time. But that's how easy it is. And as you said, we put our guitar cases down at a gig or whatever, put it there, start packing some cables away.
Yeah,
anyone could. It's easy done, isn't it?
Absolutely. When I went to LA and that, I for Christmas I got one of those air tags. I'm assuming that's probably what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was on about. Yeah, it's like a little thing, isn't it?
And I think I'm just going to leave it in my guitar, my main kind of gig bag. I think because you just never know. It's I mean that story you just said is shocking. I mean, God, if that ever happened when I was on a gig, I mean, I fear for the man. I would I would kill him. You know what I mean?
All I had chance to say was, because it was halfway along the room, and all I had chance to say was "oi" like that.
Yeah.
And by the time I said that and got to the camera to make sure it was still understanding all right, he was gone, mate. Like, he was professional. He disappeared into the crowd. And there were so many people there. Like, he was gone.
Oh, thank God you had that little voice in your head to say, "Look up." It's.
I don't really know. I don't think I was thinking, "Oh, better check the camera." I just looked up and it was weird at the time. I looked up and I just caught him doing it, and I was so lucky that I did, because that camera would have gone. And it was at the time it was like, as cameras go, one of the most expensive. It was about £600-700, I think it was.
Oh, mate, they're like, so expensive, and also it's not even the point, is it? It's yours. It's your property. I get very I hate losing things or anything like that, because I get so attached to things. I'm a hoarder. So when you were just saying there about your guitars, I've only ever sold 3 guitars in my. One was was it 4? I sold my first ever electric guitar.
Okay.
Which I had for 6 months, and it had a bent neck, and I sold it to buy my Yamaha Pacifica.
Okay.
So I only had it for a very short time. So I remember selling that for like £40. And then I had a Fret King guitar, one of those Corona ones, which I only got when I've just started trying to do, like 2013, I think I got it, when I started trying to do online things. And I got chatting to the guys, and they offered me like an artist price, which is still wasn't really much off, to be honest. And then I never really heard from them again. I sent photos to them. They never put me on their site, anything like that. And then I got a bit of a tax bill, and I was like, well, I'm not really playing the guitar. So I sold that then. And then I sold a Music Man. I had an Axis Sport, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Which I bought it secondhand in Chandler's. And it was a great guitar. It was like a 97 Axis Sport. So
Yeah.
it was the one with the it didn't have a scratch plate. Someone took it off, but it was the one when the scratch plate was on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great guitar, but very rock.
Yes.
It was, it was Van Halen. It was, that. And when I bought my 345, I was like, something's got to go. And so I sold that. So yeah, 3 guitars. So I'm just a hoarder. I just don't like letting things go. So I think that's why I've got, because I've got my old Pacifica over there, and I don't play it, but I can't get rid of the Pacifica. It's it's.
Do you still teach now, Mike, as well? Do you still?
I still teach. Yeah. I'm thinking about changing things up soon, actually. But I've been teaching for over 20 years now, and so majority of it now is Skype or Zoom lessons.
Yeah.
I've started having a couple of people come into the house for lessons now as well. But before that, it was all just people would come to the house and do stuff like that. But because I've been doing it for so long, I'm feeling like I would like a little change up. Either doing like a group thing more, which you can do either online, or I'm seeing about getting like a little, I can't even call it studio, but a music room built in the garden. That's the kind of plan. And my wife's pregnant, so this room is going to be the little Mike's room at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be kicked out of my guitar room. So I need to get something built in the garden. So but I like the idea of having kind of people come in for I could do like days workshops, things like that.
Yeah.
Well,
congratulations as well. I was just about to say, I didn't say it, but your congratulations on the.
Cheers, man. Yeah, I've only just started telling people. Like we had the 12-week scan a few weeks ago. And I was being very. I think this is the first time I publicly said it, actually. So there you go.
Okay. Well,
an exclusive.
Congrats, mate. I mean, I got a similar story to you, because this where I'm sat now is in the garden. I'm in like a
cool.
With exact same story as you, mate. I was using a room like you are now for teaching all the time, and then wife got pregnant, and it's like, this is going to be Buddy's room, which it is now. And it's like, right, okay, so what we're going to do? We live in a 2-bed house.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we going to do? And I was thinking, well, I was looking at these sort of box pod things, they called it. This was the company we used, and the best thing ever done. Best thing.
You know what? I might, because I know a guy who does them, but I wanted to speak to a few other companies, so I might have to get some details off you, if that's all right. I remember seeing on Facebook actually now that you had that built, and it looked quite cool. I remember you posted something. So
it's an amazing space, mate. It's the best thing I've ever done. And you're just like, if I open up the blinds, I can see like into the living room, and my dad's looking after Buddy today.
Oh, amazing.
Like I can see, but I'm just far enough away, so it's like it's really nice. So when you come out here, you are working and you are just far enough away. But if I'm needed, like instantly, I can just be straight back in there. So it's best thing I ever did getting one of these built was so I think it'd be the same thing for you, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be. Yeah. Is yours soundproofed, is it, or is it?
When we sat down with the guy, and it was all like custom built, custom sized, what we wanted, and I said, look, I'm going to be teaching guitar in here. It's going to be cranking out music quite loud. I don't want to annoy the neighbours. We get on well with the neighbours.
Yeah.
Can we do some stuff in here? And he's like, yeah, we'll use some acoustic paneling in the walls, and we'll do this, that, and the other, and in the floor as well. So the only place where sound escapes in this room is out the doors.
Right.
And that's the only place. And that's why there's no windows in here either, because I didn't want any sort of, it'd be nice to have a window, but for security, as we said about earlier, about things getting nicked and things, people can see in from the road if I had windows and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's cameras as well I got in the garden and stuff. Just
you're going to have to, aren't you? Yeah, if you've got
but it sounds like you're going to do very similar things. So.
Absolutely, yeah, and it will be very, very similar. So, and it looks very smart you got there. So, but yeah, I'll give you a message if you could share anything, because it'd be good just to speak to a couple of guys, just to quotes and things like that. But no, that's exactly what I'll be kind of doing, So, which is exciting, but I'm a bit of an overthinker, and I'm like, do I want to do that? Do I want to, or should I? But then the thought of renting somewhere is just a lot of money going out, and especially in the kind of first. Was that your first child? Was it, Buddy? So
he's just 9 months old now. So
congratulations, man! How was the first 9 months? What am I getting myself into?
It's amazing. Like Buddy was brought into the world a little bit strangely, because my wife had preeclampsia, so so she they had to do emergency C-section, and so
Shit, right.
he came 8 weeks early. So we spent a bit of time in like they call it NICU department, where it's like in an incubator and stuff for a little
Yeah,
period of time. I think he was always going to be fine, but there's always that like your new parents. It was all very nervous, and it's sort of like a
yeah.
hospital environment all the time, every day. And so yeah, I mean, our experience of that was not great, but I'm not saying that's going to, God forbid, I'm sure it won't happen for you. I'm sure it'd be plain sailing. It'd be good for you. But
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
that was a sort of a strange sort of strange way for him to come into the world. But now we're at a point where it's actually becoming, it's hard. Obviously, I'm not going to lie,
Mm.
but it's amazing experience, and they give you a lot of joy.
Mm.
And so I'm sure you're excited. And
Yeah.
probably nervous as well, like most.
Yeah,
of us.
it's starting to feel a bit like I say. Now I'm telling people.
Yeah.
When she's due? She's due beginning of October. So now I'm telling people, starting to feel a lot more real.
Yeah.
Because I often joke to her, I was like, "You're not pregnant. You've just been eating a lot." Because I can see her body's changing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm taking the mick out of her about that. Luckily, we have a very good relationship because you don't talk to a woman about anything with food. You know what I mean? But luckily, I pick my moments when to take the mickey out of her. But she had she didn't know it was going to happen, but she had a midwife appointment yesterday, and she heard the heartbeat. And I was like, "Oh man, I'd love to be there for that." She's like, "I know, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was going to happen." So it's all starting to feel a bit real. Now, so she's in her second trimester. All these new words you start learning, don't you?
Are you going to find out the sex as well? Are you going to find out what?
I mean, I don't mind waiting. My lovely lady, she hates surprises, and there's no way she can wait. So it would be when do we find out? Mid of May we find out. It's only about 3-4 weeks away.
Yeah.
I mean, everything in my body is saying it's a boy.
Okay.
We call it Mr. Bean at the moment, obviously when they're like that. So, and then she's like, "Should we call him Rowan if it's a boy?" I went, "No, we can't call him Rowan." But for the moment it's just Mr. Bean. But she would like a girl, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a girl, great. But everything in me is just, I keep saying he, and
you might be surprised then. I don't know.
I know. I mean, someone was saying to me if guys who in their youths were maybe a little bit of the player kind of thing, usually get punished and have girls, So I'm like,
okay.
Oh God. So I mean, it'd be great, but she will never go out because when people go, "Oh, he's a nice guy," it's like, I was a nice guy.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as nice guy.
Yeah.
But no, I'd be happy regardless. But I mean, it'd be great if it's a boy because I'll be like, you are playing. I'll be like the tennis players, the Williams sisters. I'll be giving them a guitar when they're like 7 months old. And I'll make them some bloody the next Mozart or something. But no, very excited. Nervous as well, and thinking how it will fit into the music world. I mean, I'm assuming you found, how's it been for yourself fitting in teaching, gigging and that?
It's hard. Like that's my dad's now. We're in a routine where my wife's gone back to work. Well, she's working from home upstairs, but she's back to work, so she's working. So that's why my dad's now coming to look after Buddy.
Amazing.
And also Charlotte's mum's coming on a Monday to look after Buddy. So we've got a great little system, and they're really supporting, which is fantastic. Which helps with, obviously means I can teach and things like that, and Charlotte can carry on with work. But it is hard, and I say that the hardest thing as well, which you don't really think about, is when I am gigging now. It's not like I don't enjoy it anymore, but not all the time. I don't want to be there anymore. I want to be back at home with Buddy and doing things. And Charlotte sending me videos of him doing something silly, like he's maybe not done before or whatever. And you're like, "Oh, I'm missing out on this." And there's a bit of that as well, like which I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting to. I always enjoy gigs, and I thought that would continue, and I do still enjoy them. But there's a different way of thinking now. I feel like I'd rather be at home sometimes, thinking, "Oh." When a gig comes in, it's a little bit sometimes below what I would normally take. I sort of go, maybe I prefer to stay at home with Buddy this evening. Like,
you know what though, good for you, man. Because I mean, Laura's been saying to me about it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And I think when you're a self-employed person, especially the racket we're in, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because you know, you never know when your next gig is sometimes and things, you
Hmm.
know, and it's taken me a long time to get to that realization, because I would say yes to everything pretty much, you know,
Hmm.
and it happened actually a few months ago. I got burnt out really, you know, and I
Yeah.
started. I can't believe I even said it, but I was like, "Oh, I think I might just quit it all, you know, because I was just so fed up, and uh, I was getting, I got quite bad flu. I think I might have got COVID again. I just never did a test, but I was getting over this crappy flu, and then I decided to go to this the Birmingham Guitar Show.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I was umming and ahhing about going. I knew a few people going. I thought, I'll just go again, thinking, oh, meeting up with people, networking, you all right,
Yeah.
kind of malarkey. And as I was leaving, someone messaged me. I haven't played with them in ages. Like if I wanted to do a gig that night, it's just a pub gig. I haven't done a pub gig in ages,
Yeah.
years. And so it wasn't that great money, but I was just like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll do it. But I was going to drive to Birmingham and then drive back. I stayed at my mum's that night, but I was going to drive back to Horsham where I live, so that's like 3 hours,
Yeah.
and then drive to Woking, which is about 45 minutes away from me, so a bit, you know.
Yeah.
And when I drove up to Birmingham and I got there, and as soon as I got there, I was like, oh, I want to go home, you know. And I was walking around, and it was lovely catching up with some people. No, I don't want to knock that, but
No.
in case anyone's listening who might have saw me there, but I was just like, I saw guitar, I was like, oh great, a Telecaster, whoopoo, you know, there's a Strat, great, you know. I didn't touch a guitar, I didn't look, you know, I just chatted to some people. I was there for a good few hours, but I did not enjoy it at all. If anyone saw me there, and you might have saw me a little bit, you know, like eyes glazed or anything, I just was not in a happy place at all, you know. And then I drove back down, got my gear, literally got a quick bite to eat, and then went to this gig. And it was fun. I hadn't seen the guys in years, you know.
Hmm.
And where I parked, I was walking. No, it was about a 10-minute walk away from the pub I was playing. I was walking there, and I thought to myself, it's been 5 years since I last did this. And I was walking, and I thought, I've made no progress in my life. I literally, and I think because Laura, I think I'd not long found out. Yeah, Laura was pregnant. I think that this must have been January time, whenever it was.
Yeah.
So that was going through my head as well, you know. And then I was just like, can I do this? You know, like, you know, I really started questioning everything, and yeah. And then I had a chat with Laura, and that's when having a good partner really helps, you know.
Yes.
And she's like, Mike, I've been telling you for years, like, don't have to say yes to everything. Like, you know, like doing that gig, is that going to help further your career?
Hmm.
And of course the answer is no. You know, it was lovely, you know. So it's, so I imagine what you're saying there, completely understanding, is like, well, picking what really matters, you know,
Yeah.
what's really going to help and stuff. But it's taken me 30 plus years to work this out. You know?
I'm guilty of the same, mate. I've been in the same boat, and same as you, saying like, yeah, everything, yes, 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 yes. Gigs come in, don't say no, because if you say no, you're not going to get asked again. That was my sort of theory on it, and it's not true.
Mm,
But yeah, only since I said Buddy started to, you know, we knew Charlotte was pregnant and things like that, you start thinking differently, and it's probably why you've had the same experience. Like I felt like I was thinking more about my life and what I'm doing and what I'm doing now. And as you said, like, have I made any progress in the last 5 years? I'm
yeah.
still doing gigs. I'm still doing these pub gigs. I'm still doing this, and it just makes you reevaluate everything. But
Mm,
I think in a positive way though, because what comes out of that is, as you said, like I'm not going to say yes to everything now because I've
yeah.
got different priorities and I got this. So there's a lot of positives I feel that came out for me, and that was, you know, one of them is not saying yes to everything.
Mm,
And if the money's a little bit below what I'm used to, then maybe I'll say no, and I'll enjoy
mm.
some time here with Charlotte, and we can do some things with Buddy as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure you'll have the same sort of realization. I'll be
Yeah,
interested.
I think so. Yeah, and I'm also quite like one good thing. That's why I think it'd be good for you to go to NAM, because you're meeting other people who do what we do.
Mm,
Because it can be quite a lonesome. Fair enough if you're teaching and gigging, but
yeah,
at the same time, it can be a very solitude
yeah,
thing. And that's why I was saying, like, I'm starting to think differently. I want to change some things, and I feel quite
Yeah,
you just got to work your little tush off, you know, and then work a bit more, so to speak, you know, because at the same time, there's no rule book in any of this now, is there? You know, I mean, you know, with algorithms and all that. No, nothing. Whatever worked 5 years ago, so it doesn't work now. 5 weeks ago, to some point as well, you know. So it all can be done. It's just finding your own lane with it, so to speak, you know.
Yeah, and you're doing all the right things, Mike, from what you said, like going to NAMM and that, like that's a sensible thing to do because you are networking, meeting people, and you're putting yourself in a possible position where Martin, Guitarist, came and spoke to you. And
I know, right?
But you're putting yourself in a position where you're meeting the right people, and when opportunities come up and you're there, and then it's like, Mike, be brilliant for doing that. Yeah, fantastic. Mike, come and have a chat. Well, that's how the industry works, isn't it? And I think so.
It's a very, it's definitely, because it's a very social industry, isn't it, you know, and it's certainly kind of getting out there and doing it kind of thing. That's why, I mean, to a point, you know, like I said about the Birmingham show thing, I mean, if I wasn't in that state of mind, that might not have been the case, you know. But no, it is just you know, the classic thing, be a nice person, and you know, your please and thank yous and that, and put the work in, so to speak, you know. Literally as well on the instrument, you know, because I think people forget, you know, it's about getting your craft down, you know, not always just about numbers.
No,
you know,
no.
You know, because some people can have ridiculous numbers, but can only play a few chords, or might know shape one of the pentatonics box. You know, but have like 400,000 followers or something like that, you know.
I know.
So it's a funny racket, man. It is.
And I said I will let you go, Mike, because we've gone over time. And
that's right, man.
It's been great. It's been great speaking to you.
Yeah, Mike. You too, buddy. It's been lovely to chat to you, and that I've really enjoyed it.
If anyone wants to find you, Mike, where's the best place for them to go and find you?
Thank you. I would know what everything's on my website, which is mikebradleymusic.com, and then there's links to all my socials on there as well. Or if you go in Google and type Mike Bradley, unfortunately or fortunately, this fiend will be staring back at you in some form, you know. So, but yeah, my website mikebradleymusic.com is a good place, and you can get some lesson videos which aren't online as well on there, and find out a little bit more about little old me as well at the same time.
Great, really good. I said, do message me if you want to know a bit more about box.
I will do. I really will do. Yeah, thanks, Rich. Yeah, I appreciate it.
I said maybe next year if I'm allowed, and I don't know because you'll have a new baby as well, but maybe NAMM is on the cards. Maybe I'm gonna have to do that. So,
mate, yeah. Well, January's on, and for NAMM, and if I can, I will. We'll see. Yeah, but no, definitely look into it, man. I'm sure you'll absolutely love it. The first year will be a little bit.
Imagine,
but you have a good one. But no, I'll definitely drop you a message about that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, mate. So lovely to speak to you, Mike. As I said,
you too, man.
All the best with little one, a new arrival coming soon. So that's really exciting. So hope it goes well for you.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Awesome. You take care. See you soon, Mike.
See you, man. Bye.
Cheers, buddy.